Hey everyone, Lily, the data analyst at the Clark Hewlings Fund here with Terry, a 2019 Accelerator Fellow. And we're here to talk today about how Terry's been virtualizing her art business and the kind of new practices she's been engaging in to adapt to the times. So welcome, Terry.
Hi, it's great to be here. Thanks.
Yeah, we're glad to have you here. So one of the first questions I wanted to ask you was, how are you adapting to this kind of new normal in your art business?
Actually, pretty well. As artists, I am isolated a lot. I know there are teams that work together. I'm isolated a lot, so that that has been pretty easy for me. However, my challenge is I've chosen to be isolated. Now I'm told to be isolated, and as most artists, we don't like to be told what to do. But for the most part, really been adapting well.
Okay.
Thankfully.
Yeah, so maybe it's a little too much isolation at this point when it's
It
not quite.
is, yes, it is. Yeah,
Yeah,
but we're all dealing with it, so it's just what life has brought us right now. So we've got to make the best of it.
I hear you. I'm on the same page. So I also wanted to ask you a little bit about how you've made the shift from kind of being more dependent on galleries to winning commissions and being the kind of manager of your own art business. If you could speak to that a little bit.
I can. It's interesting that you asked that, Lily, because when I go back to the original application that I completed for the Clark Hewlings Fellowship Program, one of the things I wanted to do was work more one-on-one with individuals, do more commission work. As an artist, I desire that emotional connection. Not artists need that or want that, but I love that emotional connection one-on-one. So
Sure.
that was one of my goals. I didn't know how to go about doing it though. And, but I've been in the industry maybe 10 years. I've worked with galleries, but I didn't know how to take that next step. I'm very grateful for the work that I've had through the galleries and they've represented me well, but I knew that I was missing something. And for me, to simply create work for galleries wasn't fulfilling enough. I needed to sit down with people one-on-one and really find out what's in their heart, what's in their mind, where's this piece going, and what is it they want this piece to accomplish, and what kind of emotions do they want to evoke with this piece. And I couldn't do that just providing work to a gallery. So I realized that that was real important to me. Like I said, I didn't know how to go about doing it, but I knew that that was a goal for me. I need that emotional connection with people. They're the inspiration, and then I create the design.
Sure. And so how did you build those sort of deeper and more personalized connections in your art business? What was sort of the way that you went about doing that?
Well, I'll go back to Clark Hewlings because that was really that program, the fellowship program, was the program that really allowed me to understand why I do what I do. And I had to go pretty deep, and it was painful at times. But it's just not a brand story. It's truly, why am I doing what I'm doing? And once I realized that, then that was, I think, the affirmation or confirmation, whichever word, that I needed in order to really pursue it. Once I understood why I was doing what I was doing, it confirmed that I needed that emotional connection, that I wanted to create work that would help lift others up. And the best way to do that is one-on-one. Again, understanding what it is that people are looking for and wanting to share. When somebody walks in their office, walks in their lobby, walks in their home, what is that emotion that they're trying to get someone to feel? So it was really start with a brand story. And once I had that confirmation, then it was a year through the Clark Hewlings Fellowship Program. And it was really January of this year that some things had happened, and it just made it very clear that this was the time for me to take that step, to really go from galleries representing me to commission work. I wanted to focus on, and I still do, on the healthcare industry. And I was working on a specific project. It was my um, a pivotal project for Clark Hewlings. And then COVID happened, so I had to pivot again with that, and I'm still working on it. But I still knew that commission work was what I wanted to do. So anytime I talked to anybody about my work, I would talk to them about commissions, why I do what I do, and why commission work is so important to me. So it wasn't that I was a glass artist. You know, I was a glass artist that really wanted to create work that would help lift others up, to bring light, to bring hope. And I would not have a conversation with anyone without letting them know why I do what I do. And
Mm.
commission work is where I want to go. So I claimed that, I owned it, and it was my message.
Yeah.
So doors started opening. I put out a monthly email blast to people on my email list, my database. And most cases, the feature product will be a commission work. So I want to tell people that I am doing commission work, who I'm doing it for, and there's a story behind the piece. You know, what was the motivation of the buyer? Maybe it was a gift for someone, a surprise gift, and why was that? Why did they ask me to create that gift? So there was the true story, the heart behind that piece. And I would get feedback from people, and I would actually, I mean, I'm not saying this in a funny way, but it really moved me. I mean, people actually felt what I was saying, and felt what the buyer was asking for, and felt what um, the um, the motivation behind the piece was, and would get these amazing emails back from people who really were touched. So I knew that I was always kind of hesitant on sharing my heart,
Hmm.
because, you know, I could see people just rolling their eyes and blowing off. Yeah, 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 yeah. But I really felt that if this is why I'm doing what I'm doing, then I have to share it. And the response has just been amazing, absolutely amazing. So through those emails, um, individuals have been commissioning work from me, but it's also opened the doors for, I just finished a large commission piece for Nationwide Children's Hospital here in Columbus. And um, I can credit, a lot of that is credited to a dear friend of mine, who then referred me to somebody who then said, yes, let's get her in and let's have her create a piece for me. But my emails then that were sent to these people helped support that and helped
Yeah.
encourage them.
And we've seen that trends among visual artists in during throughout the pandemic really is kind of shifting towards more commission work. That's something that we've seen that's been happening. Also, the piece about your brand story, I think, is particularly important right now when you're trying to market your work online. And I'm glad that you brought up the fact that you're using your email newsletter and kind of engaging all of your followers, your audience, and maybe perhaps people who have put out commissions in the past. And so another piece to that we've been finding in the data is that a lot of people are making more connections with their buyers at this point. I think it's a time people are looking for hope, for brightness, for joy, right? They're searching for that. And so
Yes.
with that, a lot of the research is showing that that's incredibly important, that people actually are, that artists are connecting with their buyers in a different way that feels, perhaps for you, it sounds like what you're doing is showcasing those commissions. So it's not only connecting with the buyer, but potential buyer, but helping spread the word about something you've already done and how you've connected in the past.
Yeah, and the message is always hope. It doesn't matter. Oh, yeah. Oh, I did a commission piece for a man who wanted to surprise his wife with a piece. They've collected a few of my pieces before, but after she finished her chemo radiation for breast cancer. So the message, although, you know, it was a very dark time in their life, there was still a message of hope. So that's what's really important to me. Is that another piece I just finished for a veteran from the Iraqi war, and we have, it's Lima Company, and it's a company out of Rickenbacker Air Force Base here. And in two bombs, we lost 49 Marines just like that, gone. And one of the survivors lives here in Columbus, and his wife wanted to commission a piece for him. Um, and for me, and all the message that she kept giving me was he was a survivor. He was thankfully, I mean, he was hurt badly, but survived. And I had to explain to her, but that's not who he is. You know, that was what he experienced. Something got him through that because he then became a police officer. He's now getting his master's to serve um, uh, as a social worker for veterans. So something got him through that. And when she dug down deep and started asking him, this is a surprise gift, and started asking him, it was the Milky Way. It was being in the desert at night and looking at the stars. That's where he found his hope. And Psalm 23, I mean, he, you know, quickly memorized the Psalms. So again, it's that hope. It was a really dark time, I mean, for our community. And he's still living those nightmares. But when we gave him the peace, it was all about the hope and the peace that he had while he was in Iraq and trying to heal.
Sure. That's a really beautiful example of something that you've worked with and someone that you've worked with that kind of really instills hope. Um, and I think it seems like a big focus of the work that you've been doing. And I know that this time hasn't been easy for anyone. And I know for
Yeah.
artists, there are a lot of virtual art fairs happening. We have the Clark Hewlings Fund Virtualize Your Art Career Conference coming up. And the industry is really just pivoting to more online kind of marketing, sales, all the things we've talked about in the Business Accelerator program, but that are now really coming to fruition because it's sort of out of necessity at this point, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my gosh, it sure is. And I'd like to go back to your question about the galleries. I think galleries can represent artists in ways that maybe they can't represent themselves. Maybe they're not comfortable talking one-on-one with people. They'd rather be in their studios just working and creating. What I found was a gallerist that they don't have the time to communicate the true heart of the artist. You know, they're representing 25, 30 different artists, and they really don't have that time when they're talking to a buyer to make that personal, intimate connection. So if there's some way that an artist, if they are working with galleries exclusively, can create a piece that helps tell their story so gallerists can give it to a potential buyer, I would recommend that. So they're not relying on the gallerist or an employee she may have coming in for a week or two, you know, or a day, I'm sorry, a day or two a week. Something that will help tell that story and help share the heart of the artist and why they do what they do.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing that piece of advice. I think that's helpful, right? It's not always easy to communicate the brand story or the mission of the art or whatever it may be that you're trying to communicate about your art and about your art business through someone else. So I think that gives you more control when you're able to take that into your own hands. But what you're saying is very interesting, that maybe your advice would be to kind of find a blend of the two in some way or be able to make it work.
Yes, yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, a gallerist will talk about the technique, you know, they'll talk about the medium, but they won't talk about the heart of the
The
artist.
heart of the artist. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what differentiates us all. I mean, we, you know, whether you're a painter, a sculptor, you know, you work with clay, you work with glass, paints, it doesn't matter. It's really the heart which tells the head, you know, what to create. And that's what differentiates us as artists, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Terri, thanks for joining today and for
Oh,
kind of
you're
sharing
welcome.
some of your expertise. And, it's been really interesting to talk with you about your commission work and, the heart of your art, as you say, and also just about connecting one-on-one and the importance of building relationships and making connections in developing your art business, but also in, like you said, just keeping in contact with the people that are supporting your art and really forming those relationships.
Yes, yes. And I would just encourage if this is your calling as an artist, you know, don't let these times pull you down, you know, don't let it get you down. Just, you know, find the good, find the light, you know, find um inspiration, all right? It's everywhere. It's all around us. So don't let it pull you down as an
Mhm.
artist.
Yeah, that's very inspiring, right? It's like keep forging forward and, take
Yes.
control. So,
Forging forward. Yes.
yeah, right. Well, thanks for joining us. And yeah, just everyone who's tuning in, be sure to check out Terry's art, Terri Albanese. And we'll also be doing the Clark Keulings Fund Virtualize Your Art Career Conference. Check that out on our website, and we'll see you there. Thanks.
Great. Thanks, Lily. Bye.